Lisa, please inspire me. Just let me meet one of those beautiful golden-haired girls and I'll write a love story. One of the greatest of all time.
Can I get you something?
Coffee with cream. You call this stuff coffee?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am here. My name is Ruben. We are talking to Jacob. We are talking movies. And we just reviewed the book, the novel Ask the Dust by John Fante. Today, we're talking about the movie. The movie was released in 2006, written and directed by Robert Towne. Robert Towne is a legend in Hollywood. Chinatown, The Last Detail, Without Limits, which we reviewed on this channel. Excellent writer, and he adapts Ask the Dust. And Colin, Farrell, Salma Hayek, come on, look at this cast. Donald Sutherland plays the character of Halfrick perfectly. He was born for this role. This is a story about LA, a writer who kind of comes from the East Coast or maybe in lieu of Colorado and searching for his fortune and fame as a writer in downtown LA. Meets a girl and attempts to have a relationship, although in the movie they play fast and loose with the facts of the novel, but that's the nature of an adaptation. I don't know, Jake, I like the movie, and I'll talk about why specifically, but as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, if people hadn't read the book, would they enjoy it? I'm enjoying it because I want to see some of these elements that I love in the book.
Right.
Elements like LA. They capture LA so nicely, at least my imagination of LA in the 30s, or what it would look like. Obviously, I wasn't there. It was filmed in South Africa, right?
Was it?
Cape Town, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Robert Towne has talked about how LA doesn't exist like it did back then. Although there are some buildings that are there, but it just doesn't have the flavor that was needed to capture it. But he found a perfect setting in South Africa, and I really liked the set pieces. It really breathed, smelled LA. So that's the first thing. The performances were fine. I thought Colin Farrell did a pretty great. He's an Irish actor. He's playing an Italian American. I thought pretty well. Salma Hayek does fine. There are certain things I like more than other things. Performances, sure. And I just love that they captured writing pretty well. And there's a moment where in the book, he writes a letter to his agent or to his manager or perhaps the magazine editor. And suddenly they just kind of tell him, we're not going to show it as a letter. We're going to make it a story. And that's where he makes his first bit of money. But in the movie, they nicely show the letter. And it's really well crafted, that scene. I don't like how she tears up his story in front of him. In the book, he's walking past as I wouldn't say stalking her, but he's interested and he's kind of following her line, and he sort of peeks in her job outside, and it gives a real good mood of LA. It's a really nice scene, and it shows her tearing up his story and laughing at him as he peeks from outside. To me, it was more effective. I didn't like how I guess I could talk about what I didn't like, but overall, I like it. It's Ask the Dust. What are your thoughts?
This is hard to say if I liked it or not. So I'm going to go right away and say, overall, I didn't like it. Although there are some elements that you shared that I did like. I will say this: the scenery. I'm blown away. I didn't know about them filming it in South Africa. You said right, and so that's kind of cool to know. And it's funny to see because you see the City Hall building every so often, and I'm not sure if most people know, but I think before 1940, it was up until 1940, it was the tallest building west of the Mississippi. So that becomes like a big building. But as we know now, we have the skyscrapers. With that skyline there in LA. So the scenery that was great. The actors, like you mentioned Salma Hayek and Colin Farrell, great actors. I thought the casting though of Salma Hayek, I mean, I didn't picture her as that beautiful of a girl. I think she was pretty, but I think Salma Hayek is very beautiful. And Colin Farrell, great actor, but I thought they could have got an Italian actor for that. So that's just the casting. I was kind of thrown off by it. I thought it was a little too melodramatic. I didn't like as the film went on, the second part of the film where this relationship becomes more than it was in the book. I think if you didn't see I think you asked the question, would people like the movie if they read the book or vice versa, I guess. But I don't, I think people would like it if they did. I think that's it. It's okay if they didn't read the book. But because I read the book, I think it affected me with my review here. I'm gonna be honest. I try not to be affected by it, so the audience understand where I'm coming from. I'm being affected by after I've read this really great book, and now I'm watching this movie that takes some liberties at the end of it. And I think I can understand why they're doing it with the relationship between the two leads. And but for me, it didn't work. Like I said, I thought it was a little too melodramatic at the end. And I'm talking about like the second half of the film. First half, I got in there, I got involved. I liked the characters. Like you mentioned, Donald Sutherland. He was perfect. Everything he did was perfect. Such a great actor, and we just lost him this last year, right? So overall, I can't recommend it just because of the melodramatic pieces, and again, like I said, I know I'm being affected because of myself because I read the book.
I think I know what you mean by melodramatic. Although for me, the
Uh-huh.
problem is the love story. It just kind of
That's it.
did away with the idea of the chase for the woman. Now I could see executives saying, no, they need to be together. That needs to happen. This is
Exactly.
a box office, but it just kind of took away its power in a way when they were together, and you lost its the chase is part of the story of him climbing to be a great writer. Um, and I one of my favorite parts of the book, they just completely or maybe maybe they didn't dismiss, um, but they didn't accentuate it, which is the Sammy character, who I thought did a fine performance,
He did.
but his writing, I felt like they put in the back burner and they didn't really bring
Mhm.
out, and how um, the character of Bandini helped him. Man,
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. I like it, but I don't like it. I
Starting to sound like me, Roof.
chastise you for this, but I've already said it. I've already said I liked it, and I recommend it, so I'm going to stick with it. But I agree with you when you say that second half or that last quarter, too schmaltzy for me, too much. Um, but we both agree, read the book, ask the dust. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.